guys, it's Carrie from HomesteadHow, and in today's video I'm going to tell you why an outdoor wood burner may not be the best option for you. There's a couple of reasons an outdoor wood burner may not be the best option for you. In a previous video, I talked about why an outdoor wood burner works for our situation. We have a two-family here, and it heats all of our water. Our last video on our outdoor wood burner got really good feedback and suggestions on why an outdoor wood burner may not be the best solution for everybody. Because an outdoor wood burner is a huge investment, I wanted to list 5 reasons why an outdoor wood burner may not be a good option for you. Let's talk about that. The 5th reason an outdoor wood burner may not be a good option is the pollution. This was one of the more popular comments I got on the video, and something I didn't really think about too much. You know, one of the interesting things with wood is when you have a tree, it spends its entire life absorbing carbon dioxide. And then when you put this tree into the wood burner, it burns that carbon dioxide. And it's the exact same amount. It's kind of cool how that works. It's a complete wash. That's why they say these outdoor wood burners are carbon neutral. It's true, they are. But it still puts out a heck of a lot of pollution out of the chimney. So that is something to consider. If you have a neighbor nearby, or just for the fact that you don't want to put a lot of pollution into the earth, you may not want to do an outdoor wood burner. I really struggle with this one, and I was surprised to see this comment. It's something I didn't think about too much. For me, it's like if I don't use the outdoor wood burner, then I'm using propane. And I'm not an expert on this. I don't know how it all works, but I know propane is derived from crude oil. So you got to get the crude oil. You have to transport the crude oil. You got to process it. You got to process it to turn it into propane. Then propane trucks have to drive it to my house. All of those hidden costs and pollution that's caused as a result to have that convenience of the propane brought here, I just have to think in my head that that's got to be way worse than burning wood. I could be completely wrong, but that's just my thought. And I mean, the other thing too is, if you go back throughout history, heating oneself with wood is the way it's always been done. And it seems like when there's always a question in my mind of what's better for the environment, what's better for your body, what's better for this, it's always what's natural. And the most natural thing for me seems to be burning wood, not burning crude oil that's converted into propane and then transferred to your house. It's the way people have been heating themselves throughout history. So I would think that heating wood would be the best way to go, especially when you consider that it's renewable. And that was the other comment we kept getting, and I did another video on that, but our trees here grow like weeds. We literally have a large tree with 10 baby trees around it struggling for space, and if I don't cut down those trees, those older mature trees, the younger trees can't grow up. So it's not a problem. We're not going to deplete our forest here by any means. We have more wood growing here than we know what to do with. In fact, if we don't cut down some of the larger trees, those smaller ones aren't going to be able to grow in. The other thing is, just for forest management and fire protection, it's important to cut down some trees and let some new ones grow in there. The 4th reason an outdoor wood burner may not be a good option for you is perhaps you're older or you have health issues. You have to ask yourself, how long will I be able to process 10 cords of wood and feed this beast to keep the house warm? If you're getting older or you have some health issues or back issues, this may not be a good option for you because it is a ton of work. So that is something to consider. One thing to keep in mind though is it's not an all or nothing system. Our system uses wood, but we also have a propane tank over there. And before we put this wood stove in, the previous owners just ran off of propane. So we can do either or. It's not that we put the wood in and we can no longer do propane. We've run propane already this year. Before things got really cold, we were just using propane here and there rather than firing this beast up and start feeding it. We tried to put that off as long as possible. So at any point, we could say we're done with wood and switch back to propane. So that's something to keep in mind, but that's the 4th reason why an outdoor wood burner may not be a good option for you if you're older or you have back problems or health issues. you do have to ask yourself, are you going to be able to do all of this work long term, both now and into the future? The third reason an outdoor wood burner may not be a good option for you is maybe you have a smaller home or a two-story home where you could get away with using an indoor wood burner or an attachment to your furnace or a fireplace. If we had a smaller home, I would much more prefer to have an indoor wood stove versus this one. It would cost a fraction of the price. I like the ambiance of it, and it would go through a heck of a lot less wood than the 10 cords we're putting through this thing every burning season. So that's another reason a wood burning stove may not be a good option for you. Perhaps you're in a smaller space where you can get away with heating it with an indoor wood stove. You do have to keep in mind though, there are some pros and cons to an indoor wood stove as well. For example, if you have an indoor wood stove, the safety issue, you could possibly have a fire in your house. Safety issue here, it's non-existent because we're outside. Also a big thing is the mess. A lot of people don't realize the mess you have when you burn wood. If you have an indoor wood burner, you're gonna have a big mess inside. Outdoor wood burner, you get the big mess outside. So the other thing with the indoor wood burner is you're gonna have to be tending to that fire throughout the day. Whereas with this thing, we can load it up once per day if we load it up real heavily, and it'll burn for 24 hours. So it's a lot more work to tend to an indoor fire. But the positive side of that is you're inside and you're nice and warm. You're not freezing like I am right now outside getting ready to load this thing up. So that was the third reason why an outdoor wood stove may not be the best option for you. You could possibly get an indoor one. The second reason on my list why an outdoor wood burner may not be good for you is the amount of work. It's a ton of work. We go through about 10 cords of wood per year. So it's a lot of work having an outdoor wood burner. You got to take into consideration the fact that you need access to wood, you have to cut down a ton of wood, and you may have to split the wood as well. We don't split all of our wood, but some of it needs to be split. You have to stack the wood, and then you have to stoke this thing, usually once or twice per day. So it is a lot of work. And if you're not up for doing that amount of work, it may not be an option for you. The first reason, I touched on this in the last video, so I'll go quick, is the cost. A base unit for an outdoor wood burner can cost $5,000 or $6,000. Plus, there's a lot of extra costs to have the underground PEX plumbed over to your house. You got to have an excavator come in, and you have to bury those lines. Then you have the heat exchangers in the house. You have all of the PEX fittings, the valves, the thermostatic valves, the gauges. You could end up paying $10,000 to $20,000 for a large unit like this if you are heating multiple sources like we are. So the cost is one of the reasons an outdoor wood burner may not be a good option for you. And in conclusion, because we're a young family and we have a 2-family house with our Airbnb rental, we heat all of our water, and we live in a huge pine forest with plenty of renewable trees that are literally growing back like weeds, it's definitely worth it for us. But I don't want people to get the impression that it's worth it for everybody. So let me know what you think. Is an outdoor wood burner worth it for you? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to read those. And thanks for watching. Anything for a good shot.